And good afternoon. Today is Tuesday. What a wonderful way to begin the week. With Let's Talk About It Tuesday. You are rolling on the dot with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. Dave is having technical issues. He's been kind of in and out. Hopefully his technology will work for him. We got a picture, but no sound, and then not a picture. So we don't know. Them little technology demons is attacking him. So we pray for him now and get them little demons up off of him. Hallelujah. But guess what? What a way to start the week out with. Are you okay? So one of the things that I enjoyed when I was in the military is when I was stationed down south. And it's amazing how when they say, hey, how you doing? They actually stop and they pause and wait for you to answer the question. Yeah, and then I came back up north and people are just so busy. And when you say, hey, how you doing? That's just like, oh, girl, them shoes is cute. And they keep on moving. It's not the moment to stop and, wait for the answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we definitely want to say thank you so much to the Deaf of Hard of Hearing for being with us. And they have been for the last 16 months. What an honor and a privilege it is to provide broadcasting and making it accessible for everyone as much as it lies within us to be able to do. Yep. And we want to say thank you to Disability Advocates of Kent County and to 100 Shades of Disability, because we definitely can't do what it is that we do without their sponsorship. And today, drum roll please, we are so excited. The one, the only, the most beautifulest one, master's candidate,
yes,
Miss Racquel Townsend. Hey, girl. All right.
Yay.
All right. Hands together and give God some praise for us. I guess.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
For you being on the show today.
Let me. I want to ask you, how are you doing today?
I'm okay, for real, and I am.
Okay.
I am doing well. I got delivered on yesterday, so.
Today's a new day. Look.
Today's a new day. There's no sunshine. Yeah. So I feel like Kirk Franklin. I'll just smile.
Exactly.
But actually this is not a fake smile. There's nothing hiding behind the smile. It is a true and genuine, just all is well. I am at rest. I am at peace with all that is going on. And honestly, what a great segue to actually start the show, because how many times have people said, how you doing? Girl, I'm going to fake it till I make it.
Yeah, that facade is real. So it's really important to check in with yourself as well to see if you are okay, because we live in the, go of today's society. And we don't stop to check in with ourselves as well. So not only should we check on each other, we should check in on ourselves, because that's important.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where are you right now? That's a nice.
I'm currently in Georgia. I'm from Chicago, but I'm in Georgia right now. Yeah, and it's hot outside.
No, my husband just came in and said, it's like 100 degrees past hell. I said, what?
Not past.
I'm sitting in here freezing. I had to laugh the other day because we have these wonderful neighbors, the kind like back in Leave It to Beaver days, and the different show where they still bake cookies and bring them by your house.
Yeah. They still do that in my old neighborhood in Chicago, though. I lived in a neighborhood called Merryneck. So when people move in, they still take a dish over there. So at least we know that still exists.
So my husband had to have surgery. Okay, one was an emergency one, and then the second one was an emergent surgery. No, the first one was an emergent surgery, and then the second one was a scheduled surgery. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were less than, I think that my dog is chewing on my eyelash pad. Okay, so Dave wants to come in. We have somebody. Well, hello.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, sorry, had a little technical difficulties because you turn your StreamYard on and it said I didn't have a microphone, and I did, but anyways, restart a computer and it works magic.
Okay, good.
But I heard most of it, so
Good. Don't
hey,
you love that?
Racquel,
You can still hear.
Hello.
I got the weather report from both Georgia and Byron, and it's hot out there. So folks, drink plenty of water, and stay cool.
Yes.
So our neighbor the other day, well, so on the scheduled surgery, they had brought him this big handful of cookies. And I was like, yes. And then I guess they had some kind of family thing going on. Dave, you have 2 mics open.
What?
Yeah, you're at it again. That look on his face. But
I know.
so the other day when the neighbor brought cookies, I was like, she only sent like 2 cookies down. So I don't know if her husband ate the other cookies on the way to the house.
Oh.
But what are we supposed to do with these 2 cookies? And they were good. And so I said, honey, like, how do we only get 2 cookies? He said, I don't know. But her husband said, oh, it was really hot. And I said, I'm sorry. We have the best air conditioned. I mean, it's like we live in Alaska year round. That's how cold it gets. Because, if it's really hot out and then you have the air on, you get this condensation on the window. So our windows always have condensation on them. And I was like, babe, don't they got the same air conditioning that we got?
Maybe not.
I was like, what is that about? Hey, Heidi Zeller, thank you so much. She said, keep up the good work. Dawn Pace, that's my sister. She's tuning in. She says, yeah, her neighbors come by. They do some awesome things for her in her neighborhood as well. And Breon Edwards, awesome. Hey, Breon. Oh, Dave, guess what? Rumor has it that Breon had a birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Breon.
Happy belated, Breon.
She's a whole 29. So everybody, let's say, woo! Happy birthday, Breon. Happy birthday. She's a whole 29. Oh my God, what was I doing when I was 29 years old?
That's a good question. Did you know yourself in 29?
Well, oh my goodness. So my daughter is watching. She's in Holland. Hey, Amber. And my grandchildren. Y'all ready? Here we go. Caleb, Chloe, Carter, Kobe, Carson. Yes. So I'm excited. They're watching. All righty. But today, what I am so excited to talk about is, are you okay? At the beginning of the pandemic, we had all of these, everybody needed to check in and how's everybody doing? And now that, we're kind of out and about and we don't have to necessarily Zoom to see each other. And I'm going to go somewhere with my dog in 2 seconds. He just had to find the squeaky toy. Yeah. All the toys that he had to find the one that makes the noise. But I think we've lost that somewhat of, are you still okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year was a year that changed a lot of people's lives. So we were forced to sit down and be in solitude, which can be beautiful, but it also can be very different and, be like a shock to what we're used to. and that touch and everything, it could really drive us into a state that doesn't always feel good. But I'm a advocate for it's okay to not be okay. A lot of people don't get that understanding, or they're not encouraged to feel. And that's important, because when we feel like we're stopped to move forward or push through our emotions, or forced to push through our emotions, we don't take that time and those opportunities to really reflect or understand where those emotions are coming from. And then that goes, we then go into like a rabbit hole of despair almost, because we're not understanding where this is coming from or how to get out of where we're going. And it just goes down a tornado of different emotions that we just simply don't understand. So I've been there multiple times in my life. I've tried to commit suicide about 3 times. I've, my father growing up, I love my dad. He is a recovered drug addict. So he's been through a lot, seen a lot of what he went through. My mom, she had postpartum when I was born. So she went through a lot of turmoil inside her brain as well, because there was a lot of things she didn't understand. And we like to blame people for our happiness. But last year really taught us that everything that we need is within us. Although we like to experience wonderful things, we really have to find out what makes us happy. And that's what really changed my life. I lost my mother last year as well. So that was a heartache that still goes on each and every day. I never get over it, but I learned how to deal with it. And I've learned that perspective is everything. You can really change your life and your views about life based upon how you perceive things and how you choose to internalize them or not. So that's really important to me. And that's why, like Dr. Kimberly said, that I'm in school for my master's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was giving you a tissue. I just wanted you to know that we're holding you. We are supporting you as you are sharing. I'm trying not to cry. As Dave knows, he just lost his mother in love. And I just lost my father. And so we know, and we understand about those pivotal relationships. That
the beautiful thing about my mother's death is that through her death, I really found me, and I found what unconditional love really means. I found out that my mother, she actually had been battling cancer for a long time, but never let us know. In 2017, I found out that I had a brain tumor. So her entire world shifted to, I got to make sure my baby is okay. But through that, she really took a back seat on what she needed, And just to think about that shows me the amount of sacrifice, the amount of I don't even know what to say about it.
We have a comment, and I am a United States Navy veteran, and so we are always called, you said, your sisters in arms. And so today we make you an honorary female veteran, and your sister warriors are with you. We have another female veteran who is on, who says, I see your strength, warrior. And
I appreciate that.
So today we make you an honorary female veteran, and know that I is a veteran and she's watching, and Sarah is a veteran and she's watching. And so know that we have you today.
Well, thank you for everything you all have done, because that's amazing. And we appreciate you too.
You are definitely in a safe space to share, even though we are We have thousands that watch us all over the United States, and we are in 9 countries. And so we don't take that lightly. And we try to make sure that we find things that we can help the people. I mean, that was the whole premise of this from day one, is to make sure those who would not normally get information have information and the access
Right.
to it. That there is universal access for all. When we, especially in the disability world, when we talk about universal access, we always talk about and Dave can bear witness to this, that we always talk about the physical space, but we never talk about the emotional, the financial space that people find themselves excluded from. And so we try to make sure that there is universal access to information and anything else that needs to happen. So we want to say thank you. And we love Dave. He's sitting there and he's just like, wow, again, here we go. I'm not sure what happens in the Anglo community. And I love the relationship that Dave and I have, because I think that we example for the world to see that you have polar opposites. You have, as for gender, you have a male and you have a female. And as it relates to race, you have the epitome of white privilege, and you have myself, an African American. And every day that we show up here on this show, we show how it can work. We can share what it is that we have, bring highlight to what we each offer, and how we can assist each other to make it a better world. And so I love our relationship. My husband calls him his husband-in-law.
That is beautiful.
He said, "That's my husband. Hey, you got my wife. All right, I can go now. You got her." So I can go, because I know that he has her, and that is such an awesome feeling. And I love them both so dearly, because they both give me a freedom to be who I've been called to be. They both give me a freedom to live the self-directed life that we are able to be in all 50 states and in 9 countries. They really do. And so I know I say it sometimes and maybe not often enough, but I love you, Dave, and the whole world knows it, and I'm not ashamed to say.
Exactly. Well, and the love is returned, Dr. Kimberly, because it is this opportunity that we have to move beyond those superficial labels that too many people get so caught up on, and instead talk about real issues like depression, that again, these are real. And when people have, as you mentioned, Racquel, the loss we all experienced this last year because of the COVID restrictions, and then some of us lost family members to COVID, and some of us lost family members just in the normal course of life. Yeah, and yeah, it's real. And to have this opportunity, because too many folks like, oh, get over it, go hide it. Yeah, that's So that's what I love about Dr. Kimberly, is she doesn't want to hide. She is not the shrinking violet, as I like to say. Violet might be her favorite color, but she does not shrink with her violet.
How did you know to ask the question, am I okay?
I got to a point where I was scared. I was scared that because I didn't care about living anymore. And that scared me. Because when I got to that point, it almost was so hopeless. I really had to check. I'm big on that. I'm big on holding myself accountable. And my emotions have played a big part of my life. So it's been a journey of trying to understand where they come from. But literally last year, I was going down a road that I didn't want to be, because once when my mama died, a part of me died with her. And I've faced a lot of trials and I've been called a fire strong, they say. So normally they don't check up on us. But
say that again.
I've been called the strong one. So normally they don't check up on the strong friends. But sometimes those are the friends that you need to check up on the most, because they not only take on their own hurt, they take on others as well. But it was a situation of my mom, and all my family is in Chicago, and I came back to myself. I had to deal with me. And I was like, either I'm going to go this way or that way. And honestly, it was on my heart to start writing a book. And that's when I started the book that I'm writing now, called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Because we need to know that it's okay to feel exactly what you feel and go on your own journey. It's okay to be in the place that you are right now. That doesn't make you less than. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't mean that anybody else's problems are bigger than yours. You are experiencing what you are experiencing, and that's okay. And when I changed my perspective to not hold it like, why is this happening to me, to like, okay, it is what it is. How can we move forward? That's what changed.
Yeah, and that just resonates so much with me. Back when Dr. Kimberly and I were little kids, there was a book out there that was called I'm Okay, You're Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I can't remember what the book was about, but a priest friend, he changed that to just what you were saying. I'm not okay, you're not okay, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. You know, so that resonance of what you were just saying is like, let's talk about, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling broken, I'm feeling whole. Let's talk real. And all of that's okay, as opposed to putting on that facade of, I'm okay, everything's fine.
Yeah. So, I also had to, I'm sorry.
No, go.
You know what? It's like 4:24. And normally we take a station identification break, but today we're going to forego it. I love it because we got right into the topic, and we may go a little long. So unfortunately, if Beth needs to go, we still do have closed captioning on all of our platforms. So if you are deaf or hard of hearing, you will still be able to see what's being said. But we've got some really great comments. It is, thank you so much for addressing real life issues. Wonderful broadcast, much needed. The other comment was, anyone who can come and be transparent in a public place needs to be commended. So we commend you. We support you. Again, you have the support of us, and know that I've got this issue right here. I'm holding it in my hand. You don't want for me, because do like that, girl, some lashes gonna fall off today. And and number two, I want to really, those of you who are in the faith community needs to take a closer look. We had the conversation before the show on the phone about how in the faith community, especially in the African American church, we say, you know what, the Lord is going to deal with that, and we're going to lay hands, we're going to speak into bam, we're going to slay you in the spirit.
That's just the devil.
I'm sorry. Or, it's just the devil. It is not, it may be a devil, a demon, but guess what? It still needs to be addressed. It needs to be handled. And the Bible says, without works, faith is dead. So the work part may be, I need to talk to someone who has an expertise in this area. Just as I come to you for my soul, I need to go to someone for my mind. And I may need a medication to do this. Jesus himself, when the man was blind, created, if you will, a medication. He picked up the dirt, he spit in it, he mixed it up, he made a salve, put it on the man's eye, so that he can see. So that was a medicine, and he's, by your faith, may you be made whole. We have to receive that. And so I would implore, admonish, give a strong warning too, especially during this time where so many have not had an opportunity to exercise their faith and their beliefs like they normally would, because they are not in the congregation, in a group. So maybe you had a way to hide in there, but at least you maybe felt some sort of relief when you went into a service. But as someone who has been a person of faith, and as they say in our culture, I've been saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, and loving Jesus from a little girl. I think I was 5 years old the first time that I spoke, in tongues, was in prayer. My grandmother laid hands on me. We was at the Sherman Street Church of God in Christ, the storefront. And you gonna get it today, baby. And at 5 years old, here it was, down there tarrying for the gift of the Holy Ghost. That's all I know. But there came a day and there came a time where something welled up in me. There was such an anxiety. The anxiety caused me to get nervous, stay in, and I was in such a depressive state. I couldn't even have light come in. Every blanket that we had, any towel that could block out the light, covered every single window in my home. I could get up, get the kids together, but I can't have no lights on. Just in such a deep, dark place. I can think of at least 3 times in my life. I still got the marks on my wrist, the first time where I actually, had slit my wrist. And it was amazing to me because they were like, she's in the Navy. When they got me to the hospital, they sewed me up, and it was like, she just needs a pill. She's strong. She don't need nobody. It was like, but obviously I did. Right. It was a cry for help. And I just remember, okay, they're not going to help me. I'll figure it out. And I went and I bought all of these dishes. They were glass. I bought a case of glasses, a case of glass plates from the dollar store. And the building, there was a brick building behind me. And I went out my back door and stood on the balcony, and I just threw these dishes up against the wall and watched them crash, and everything that was in me, this is bothering me, and I just threw it and crashed, and it just broke me. Because the Bible says that, certain things can be put back together, but the anointing will destroy. And so I said, I want to destroy all of this that's in me so that can't nobody come back and put these pieces back. I don't want them back together at all. None of it. And I just sat there, and it was like, do we need to call the police? What's going on? What happened? Oh my Lord, all these people are gathering around. I said, I'm just having a nervous breakdown my way. Just leave me alone. Yeah. As they saw my wrist, my wrists were, still bandaged and, from the hospital. And they were like, oh my God, do we need to call a paddy wagon? I'm nervous. No, right. But in that moment, I think it was just so pivotal for me, because when I asked myself, was I okay? I said, no.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really important just to surrender to your emotions. And in our community, sometimes words scare us the most. From surrendering or to submission, are you weak or anything like that? But in reality, we need to redefine what is scary for us, because a therapist equals insanity. And that's not true at all.
Dave, I do have a question. Culturally, African Americans, we don't go because all the therapists are white. But does that mean that all white people go to a therapist?
Oh, absolutely not. I got a long list of white people that could could take advantage of therapy. I mean, I myself am in therapy, just helping myself to grow, helping myself to work on issues that I have had for many a year. And so, and because it is this, back to that surface level, I actually filled out an application a couple of weeks ago to be on this committee, and they haven't gotten back to me. So I don't know if they thought I was too snarky, because I mean, when the only box they gave me was white, and I mean, whiteness, and I put other, and I put Northern European, because that's pretty much I'm Irish, German, and Polish. Mm-hmm. And Northern Europeans are very stoic. We are very, though, where you talked about the experience in a lot of African American churches, very, alive and dancing. We don't do that, where Mediterranean folks, and again, these are huge caricatures, but, Italian folks and Greeks and just that Mediterranean folks will be a little more expressive. And so, this monolith of whiteness is one piece. However, the most important thing, to get back what you were asking, Dr. Kimberly, is, is our therapeutic community culturally competent? And do the therapists look like us in the way that we care to go talk to somebody? I mean, I happen to choose a female therapist, but she happens to be white, and anyways, but I mean, you are absolutely correct. I would bet that the social workers and psychiatrists out there, there's a teeny percentage or not a teeny, but there's a too small percentage that's African American. And then what are we doing as a community to recruit and train folks into those helping professions?
I think that really came up last Thursday. We had an African American teacher. He has his master's degree, and he said what he does parapro like in special education for like 5 years, and that number one, as a male, a Black male, and being a teacher, teaching children with disabilities was never an option, or said, oh, okay, that's something to even consider or think about. And I'm like, wow. And nor is it, let's talk about what happens within our families that has caused trauma. So
that's major.
So that we can heal. I mean, we're not going to go all the way back to slavery, but we can, and how certain things were formed within our culture, living inside of another culture.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's
they're just the traumas that happen that really
it's deep
addressed, that never get addressed, but are continually perpetuated within our family, even though we have an opportunity to do something different. As we can see the comment, I love Shayna. Shayna is in Bel Air, Maryland, and I love her because she represents such a unique person. I mean, persons, people, just a demographic. She was able-bodied, and then she acquired her disability, and being a single mom, choosing to go through therapy and then make her children go through therapy. And I don't want to use the word fake, but said, okay, this is what we're getting ready to do. That you're not going to take this the rest of your life. Things that we are experiencing, number one, teach them how to be respectful of persons with disabilities. Your mom now is a mom with a disability, and trying to raise them as a single parent. That is a lot to put on one person to say, okay, first of all, I'm a female, I'm African American, I didn't have a disability, now I do have a disability, and now I'm a single parent, I got 2 kids, and I'm supposed to raise them from this wheelchair, and I'm raising a Black son to tell him he got to respect me, and I'm sitting down. when I can't get up and just, you know. Because boys will try a mother, period. I don't care what color they are. You know, when men think, oh, I woke up and I said, oh, something was like, hello. And I was like, hello. Well, who are you? Oh, this is what you do. And it's like, oh, I got power now. You know, I think they think power. I mean, no, y'all think power comes through that, you know, it rises up. Just saying. And then, but we know how to make it just go on down and just sit on down. So I'm just saying, just go on, sit on down and sit down. But when you think about the anxiety, number one, of raising children and then raising them as a person with a disability. And I always look, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because what comes first, the anxiety or the depression? And people think that there's such polar opposites that how you going to be anxious about something and be depressed? Because they make the assumption that the anxiety has you way up here high, and the depression takes you low, 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 where you're just this opposite sad. But that's not how it necessarily works. No. You know, it really doesn't. But just the thought of that. But my question to you, Dave, is when you think about anxiety and depression as a leader, not only are you making decisions or part of a decision-making team as a county commissioner, but over on this other side, you're an executive director of Disability Advocates of Kent County, and you have a staff that you're making decisions for, and then they're touching the lives of thousands of people and saying, do we have the right programming? And are we offering the right services? Who do we need to get to come on board and getting our message out? I mean, so I'm building this picture because guess what? All of that brings anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that, you know, our number one job as peers is to help navigate folks to the resources both within themselves and in the community. I mean, the most important thing we do as it relates to depression is we honor its realness. Mm-hmm. That's a weird thing to say, but it's real. And again, I think I've mentioned it on this show before. I saw a meme a couple of months ago that just struck me so hard because it said, like, depression is the most poorly named thing. You know, I happen to be a Pittsburgh Pirate baseball fan, and I'm depressed because the Pirates stink this year. But, you know, but that's not depression. That's not like you physically and emotionally cannot get out of bed or can't leave the house. That's real. Yeah. And then how to help folks find the right resources and to find enough strength in themselves back to asking for help, because even asking for help is a monumental task when you are in that depth of, again, we call it depression, but it's so much heavier and deeper than that word. And so, shameless plug, 2 weeks from yesterday, we're going to have Alan Bolter in our office. So on a Monday, Alan is the vice president of the Michigan Community Health Association. Okay. And we're going to be talking about what's happening at the state capitol in Michigan related to community mental health. And so, Dr. Kimberly, I've written down the question, what are they doing to recruit and train culturally competent counselors, African-American, Hispanic, Asian Americans? You know, it's like, what are we doing? Men and women, people of various ages, different gender perspectives. And so what are they doing other than, well, we just keep hiring who comes forward, but who keeps coming forward are these, and it's predominantly young white women, because even the male perspective is, it's sometimes the minority perspective, because men can't be social workers. We're supposed to be tough, you know? So all
Yeah.
that being said, it's like back to we honor and accept that depression is real, and what can we do to help and support you through that journey? Because if you deny, it's like, it's just all in your head. Well, it is. And maybe a little bit in my soul.
Your head.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's not as easy of just get over it. It's because if it was, people would.
Yeah.
And
I think it's really important also to really encourage it to be taught in schools, because you do not know what's going to happen in life. Sometimes it's inevitable that things will happen them to happen. So just anticipating that, what I'm actually focusing on is emotional intelligence.
Okay.
We don't have enough. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. We are on 5 platforms, so I am seeing comments from everywhere. So we have comments from YouTube. And it's the comment is, asking for help is a monumental task, especially when you've been conditioned to keep quiet and viewed as abnormal for bringing forth your issues.
Yes, that's important. And I wanted to touch on that because as young people, we learn so much. We're sponges, right? But everything we learn might not be what we need to excel. That's why emotional intelligence is a major lesson to be learned at younger ages. I had to really check myself because I would blame my parents for everything. I blamed them for what I didn't have. I blamed them for how I felt. I blamed them for not being there. But in reality, I had to look at myself when I was 33 and say, hey, you don't have your stuff together. And then they had you even younger. So how do you expect them to know anything? Because you don't even know it. You really have to give them grace. And when I learned that, I'm like, oh, they're people too, you know? And that goes back to blaming people for our happiness. And of course, if we love somebody, we have compassion and we want to make them feel good or want to be a positive light in their lives. But in reality, it's way bigger than us. It's way bigger than them. And you have to take care of you before you can even help anybody else. Yeah. So if we're learning at a fundamental level of how do we feel, acknowledging that, then we really can learn how to manage our emotions, how to move through different obstacles, because we have these tools now to learn a different way or pull a different, emotion out of our hat to choose versus instantly being angry. And, we choose the wrong emotion and we're going down, maybe getting upset when it doesn't need to go there, or getting overwhelmed because we're not understanding why it's not happening, or why do we have to deal with this certain situation at the specific time. And it really gives you an understanding of not only yourself, but then you understand how to communicate and how to interact with other people too. So at the foundation of everything, I think you have emotions, right? Even if we're talking about young kids in school, if I don't like math, then I'm probably not going to want to work on it or excel at it. And liking something or having a negative emotion towards it will hinder you from moving forward. So if you understand where you are, how about using a different technique or using art therapy? And acting really got me through all of my trials and helped me understand my trauma. So it doesn't have to be just going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, right? It can literally finding different outlets in order for you to express or, convey the emotions that you need to convey in a positive way, you know, turning your darkness into light, you know.
I
But
think
it's
that's why
important.
it's important for children to be in sports, because I think that it gives them an opportunity to have an outlet,
Mhm.
and you find out that maybe what you're experiencing at home that somebody else might be experiencing too.
Yes.
And then so you get an opportunity to have a conversation with someone else. I have to say, as a mother of three, I appreciate who I am. I celebrate myself because it's difficult.
Mhm.
When I was married, having babies at 20, I had been on my own. I was in the military. And so there wasn't anybody to sit and teach me, oh, now this is what you do, how to be this mom and work. And of course, nobody in my family had ever, gone to the military, got married, and then, got pregnant, had babies, and in the military. That's a whole nother animal in and of itself. And so you learn so many different things. And then when you're moved from duty station to duty station, yeah, just the dynamics are just so different because you're in a very closed community versus being a civilian where everything is open and out to you. Um, if you're in the military, if you're on the base, that's all you have. The base is self-contained. It has a McDonald's. It has a Walmart, quote unquote, on there. It has daycare. Your job is on there. So that's all you know are just this group of people. You don't have to interact with civilians if you choose not to. And so when you leave that closed environment and you come, it was different. That's all I can say.
And that's okay.
It was definitely different. But then I found it again being now in the disability community. It's a very close community as well that lives within the community. I think that I had more access as an African American female than I did as a person of color with a disability. I found myself, back in this little boat again and just right here in this little space. And it's like, wow, this is different. But I want to say thank you to Disability Advocates of Kent County because they really came alongside me and helped me to figure out who am I in the midst of all of this. And Dave, again, here we go. He was just so instrumental in saying that you have power. And we're getting ready I'm about to plug into your power. I said, sir, there's nothing in them sockets. What is you talking about? them is dead. Them some dead sockets. There ain't nothing going on with them sockets. And it was so funny. It was like, well, maybe we need to clean off the fuses or maybe you need new fuses. He says, but definitely you are a source of power.
Yes.
And I didn't see it, couldn't receive it, but I want to say thank you just for your grace of saying it's there. And the first thing I did was put up a wall and say, well, you can't have it. You're not going to exploit it. And that's no. Like a 2-year-old. And he says that's not it but for me, you represented everything that was, no, don't let that happen. No. Again, those cultural stigmas that you have, and then you build this wall, which turns into anxiety and depression. Maybe there are some people who chemically there is some miswiring in the brain that they have oh Lord, I'm saying it. My daughter gonna say, Mom, the depression really? Yeah, the depressions. But then there are situations. It's just like disability. It's either born with it, you acquire it, or it's temporary, or it's situational. And so some of our situations that were designed to be temporary can now become permanent.
Mm-hmm.
if we don't do something about it.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of times, and I'm trying to be very careful because I don't want to qualify it and say, the all and the every,
Mm-hmm.
but I can say most of the time that we start with a situation that we don't take care of,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't acknowledge, and don't realize, and then it becomes something else.
Mm-hmm. And I heard something from Aunt Tabitha Brown. She talked about how if you broke your ankle and just didn't go to the doctor, yeah, it will heal, but it might not heal correctly. And then you go to the doctor later on down the line and say, hey, I need you to fix this because I'm limping. I don't want to limp no more. Yeah, we can fix it, but guess what? We got to break it again. And you have to keep coming back for checkups. And you have to learn how to walk again.
We're going to have to cast it.
Exactly.
Gotta cast it.
And you got to take care of it. So yes, it can be fixed, but it's a journey. And if you want to, because sometimes depression, it may never go away. That's okay. But if you understand that, okay, I'm going to choose to fight every single day, or I'm going to choose to see things differently, then you experience things differently. And that's major, because anxiety, I get anxiety over the littlest thing. I literally have to say, Racquel, shut up. Get it together. Shake yourself, something. But that's okay. Because how you deal with or manage or go on with your journey is okay. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to not fit in. And people need to understand that it's okay. That one, like, it seems so simple, but we all are so hard on ourselves. And especially because I started acting. And as a creative, we are so hard on ourselves. Like, it's the end of the world.
Did I say that?
It's almost the end of the world if I don't get a call back. But no, it's okay. There will be others. And what's for you is going to be for you. And it's that constant communication, that constant talking to yourself. And maybe you don't want to answer that day. It's okay. But you will figure it out. But choosing yourself, choosing to continue, choosing to go on is just the first step in understanding or managing or dealing with depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has, they can give you tools and techniques, but they can't tell you what to expect or how it's supposed to go. Because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone in an hour.
And that's where I came up with 100 Shades of Disability. Yeah, because when I joined the disability community physically, I mean, mentally and emotionally, I've been there a long time. But to be there physically, I just saw there's so many shades to this. You're not just someone who's depressed, or you're not just someone who's hard of hearing. You're not just someone who's blind. There's so many shades to it. And when you bring your personality and your lived experiences, it changes the color of it. And I tell everybody, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up, never give up, and show up for life, because somebody needs your story. They do.
Define you.
I want to say thank you for your candor. I want to say thank you for sharing. Dave, any final words?
Well, most importantly, to echo your gratitude to Racquel. Thank you so much for being with us. And then to everybody else, ask for that help,
Yes.
and if you can't ask for help asking for help, right?
Yeah.
Just find that person that you and I'll leave it there. And if you're not getting the help you think you need, call disability advocates. We'll walk alongside you. Ask for help, asking for help. And that's okay to not be okay.
Yes. It's okay to be exactly where you are and love that, because that's the first step.
What great words. Thank you. And y'all see how pretty
Thank
she
you.
is. Mm.
Thank you.
Yes. And
Thank you so much.
This is how we are starting this week. Are you okay? Is it okay? Is it all well? And the answer is yes. No matter how bad it may look, how bad it might seem, there's somebody who's waiting with that hand I'm here to give you a hand up, not a hand out, but just a hand up, and say somebody has been where you've been, and we all have enough collected experiences that we can come alongside you. And let's see, do we have some comments? Yes. So I think we got to find some final comments from our audience here. And it was, Racquel, you are a breath of fresh air.
That's so sweet. Thank you. That just made my day. I appreciate you. Whoever said that.
Oh, that was my daughter. My kids got emotional intelligence.
Oh, thank you.
Help me, Jesus. I'm going. So I'm just saying, she has been watching live on YouTube, and so with her children, and that is just awesome to have a young woman, because you guys are you're only a year apart,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice for them, number one, to see their mother have gone through the process and see what it looks like on the other side, and then to see someone who is their contemporary, who is on the show, who is being transparent. And I want to say thank you. And for those days that it gets dark, know that you're not in there alone. You are not by yourself. We are with you. I'm with you. Dave is with you. Saying, you can do this now. Yes, you can do this right now. He's got his little hands. He does his little prayer, but that we are there with you.
Yeah. And you don't have light without darkness. So learn how to shine through it.
We're just a phone call away. And we want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. We did this without any commercial breaks. It was a great show. I want to say thank you so much for all the hearts, all the likes. I'm telling you, it was buzzing on all 5 platforms. So thank you for tuning in. And if you are new to the Rolling on the Road brand, tomorrow, take the opportunity to catch up on some of our past shows. Got an appointment on tomorrow in another city. And so we're going to give you a really great show on tomorrow. Actually, the guest that you will see is Miss Yana Crawley, who was just in Coming to America 2 with Eddie Murphy. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's on Prime or HBO Max. And when you watch it and you get to the end and you hear this woman singing down in the courtyard, boy, Eddie Murphy and his wife and the family are like, oh my God, yes, that's her. That's Yana Crawley. That's who is going to be on tomorrow's show. So please, watch it, and you're going to enjoy it. And we will be back here with you guys on Thursday. Dave and I doing it is what we do best. And we want to say thank you to the Deaf or Hard of Hearing for rolling with us. You guys are just awesome. And to Disability Advocates of Kent County, and to, yes, where are we? 100 Shades of Disability.
Yes, thank you.
They help us do what it is that we do best. So we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't gotten your vaccine, please, please, please,
Please do.
please do. You know, if not, get your PPE kit and yeah, there you go. Alcohol. And if you're not busy, tonight
Alcohol.
at 5:30 p.m., Empowered Networking and Businesses will be at the Bingoe Center today from 5:30 until 8. Opportunity to network and see some of the best, the brightest, the greatest, yes, business owners of people who are of color and indigenous people. The biggest event of its kind in Western Michigan. So please be there or be square. We love you. We appreciate you.
Yes.
And until tomorrow, please be safe and mask up.
Peace out.